Hi and welcome to the Runco training video for the Brother JK17B Sewing Machine. We hope you enjoy the machine as much as we do. Connecting the power cable and foot controller. Connect the foot controller plug to the machine and then connect the power supply to a power outlet. Changing the needle. Make sure the machine is turned off. Lower the presser foot. Hold the needle to loosen the screw. Tip. Hold the needle to prevent it from falling into the machine and slide the needle down to remove. Inserting the new needle. With the flat side of the needle towards the back, insert the needle. Hold the needle in place and tighten the screw. Tip. Take care not to use excessive force when loosening or tightening the screw. Lift the presser foot when done. Changing the presser foot. Lift the presser foot lever. Press the black button on the back of the shank. Align the bar on the presser foot with the slot on the shank. Lower the presser foot lever and snap the presser foot onto the shank. Bobbin winding. Pull up the spool pin. Pull the thread from the spool towards the thread guide. Pass the thread through the thread guide from the back and pass the thread around the tension disc in a clockwise motion. Pass the thread through the hole in the bobbin. Place the bobbin onto the winder shaft and slide the bobbin shaft to the right. Make sure the machine is switched on. Hold a 10 cm piece of thread tightly above the bobbin. Hold the end of the thread. Press the foot controller to wind the bobbin and stop. Trim the excess thread above the bobbin and continue winding. When the bobbin is full, it will stop spinning. Cut the thread and slide the bobbin shaft back and remove the bobbin. Tip. Make sure the bobbin is wound evenly. Lower threading. Remove the bobbin cover by sliding it forward. Make sure the bobbin unwinds in a counterclockwise direction. Place the bobbin in the bobbin case and pass the thread through the slit in the tension adjustment spring. Guide the thread through the slit on the left of the bobbin until it cuts off. Replace the bobbin cover by sliding it backwards. Tip: if the thread is not inserted correctly, it may cause incorrect thread tension. Upper threading. Pull up the spool pin. Pull the thread from the spool towards the thread guide. Step 1. Pass the thread through the thread guide from the back. Step 2. Guide the thread down through the groove. Step 3. Guide the thread around the tension dial. Step 4. Guide the thread up and around the take-up lever. Step 5. Guide the thread down towards the needle. Needle threading. Step 6. Lower the presser foot to keep tension on the thread. Step 7. Place the thread behind the guide above the needle. Step 8. Lower the needle threader. Make sure the hook passes through the eye of the needle. Guide the thread around the threader and under the hook. Lightly hold the thread and turn the needle threader towards the front of the machine. The hook will pull the thread through the needle. Pull the loop of the thread through the needle and guide the thread under the presser foot. Tip: if the hook does not pass through the needle is not in the highest position. Turn the handwheel to move the needle to the highest position. Zip foot guide. Guide next to the teeth of the zip with the zip foot. Fold the seam allowance and place the fold next to the zip teeth. Attaching the zipper foot. Press the black button on the back of the shank. Align the bar on the zip foot with the slot on the shank. Lower the presser foot lever and snap the zip foot onto the shank. Select a straight stitch with the center needle position. Place the fabric under the zip foot and lower the presser foot. Turn the hand wheel to make sure the needle does not hit the zip foot. Sewing with the zip foot. Lift the presser foot lever and open the zip glider and slide it to the back. Lower the presser foot and continue sewing. Buttonhole. Attach the buttonhole foot. Step 1. Stitch 1A, front bar tack, and sew 5 to 8 stitches. Step 2. Stitch 1B, left side, stitch the length that is needed for the desired button to fit through. Step 3. Stitch 1C, back bar tack, sew 5 to 8 stitches. Step 4. Stitch 1D, right side, stitch the right side until the needle reaches the stitches sewn in step 1. Stitching on buttons. Place the darning plate on the needle plate. Change the presser foot to the button sewing foot M. Place a button between the foot and the fabric. Sew about 10 to 15 stitches. Tip: measure the distance between the buttonholes and set the pattern selection dial to the zigzag stitch with the desired width. Pull the upper thread to the bottom and tie it with the bobbin thread. Stitching on buttons. If the needle hits the button, move the button slightly until the needle enters the holes. Tip: turn the hand wheel counterclockwise to ensure the needle enters the holes before pressing down on the foot controller. ZigZag Stitches. Zigzag Stitch 2, stitch length 0.7 mm, stitch width 1.8 mm. Zigzag Stitch 3, stitch length 1.5 mm, stitch width 3.3 mm. Zigzag Stitch 4, stitch length 2 mm, stitch width 5 mm. Zigzag Satin Stitch 5, shorter stitch length, stitch width 5 mm. Zigzag Satin Stitch 5, stitch length 0.5 mm, stitch width 5 mm. Zigzag Satin Stitch 5, longer stitch length, stitch width 5 mm. Straight stitch, straight stitch 6, center needle position, stitch length 1.6 millimeters. Straight stitch 8, center needle position, stitch length 2 millimeters. Straight stitch 10, center needle position, stitch length 4 millimeters. Straight stitch 11, left needle position, stitch length 2.5 millimeters. Blind hem stitch. Blind hem stitch 12, stitch length 2 millimeters, stitched width 5 millimeters. Blind hem stitch 12, folding a blind hem. Blind hem stitch 12, stitching the blind hem. Elastic stitch 13, stretch blind hem stitch 14, over edge stitch 15, double action stitch 16, bridging stitch 17. Elastic stitch 13, stitch length 1 millimeters, stitch width 5 millimeters. Stretch blind hem stitch 14, stitch length 2 mm, stitch width 5 mm. Over edge stitch 15, stitch length 2 mm, stitch width 5 mm. Double action stitch 16, stitch length 1.2 mm, stitch width 5 mm. Bridging stitch 17, stitch length 1.2 mm, stitch width 5 mm. Maintenance on the Brother JK17B. Make sure the machine is turned off before cleaning the machine. Remove the bobbin from the bobbin case. Use the screwdriver to remove the screws from the plate. Remove the needle plate and bobbin case. Clean the area with a soft bristle brush. Align the triangle on the bobbin case and the circle on the outer rotary hook to insert the bobbin case. Insert the bobbin case. Replace the needle plate. Take care not to use excessive force when tightening the screws. Tip: never oil the machine. Thank you for watching and enjoy your Brother JK17B Sewing Machine.